All right, here we go. So this one is for you, dear Sagittarius. This is Tarot Lumination with your generic kind of general report, broad spectrum vision for June 2018. You know the routine. If you've been here before, watch for your sun, moon, and rising. That's the convention, especially if they're all different. You need that full perspective, okay? If you've never been here before, please hang in for all the regulars. I need to go through some, kind of rituals, to get things rolling, to explain things a little bit. We're going to use a journey of the heart spread on the understanding that none of this happens without our heart working properly. I'm not talking about the physical heart, but the fact that the heart is at the center of our whole lives. It doesn't matter about whatever else is going on out there. If there's something out of whack with the heart, then you've got a problem. Love thyself, Sagittarius. Love thyself. Cards are well shuffled in advance. No jumpers, no flyers, no oracles, no reversals. Not enough time or room for all of that. I'm sorry. I love just working with the cards the way they were originally painted, using the simplest, most popular deck. So before we get into this, I just want to give you a little bit of astrobabble here, just for fun, just to give some perspective. Now, these are my own notes. I've got a bunch of stuff here. These are my own notes, and I'm just sharing them with you. I just put this on the wall to remind myself of calendar dates that are potentially very choppy for everybody, not just Tarot Lumination or Sagittarius, for everybody. And also the good stuff too. The good stuff is in green, the challenging stuff is in red. So here we go, just for your own reference, June 2018 from Tarot Lumination. Early on, we got this big fat water trine, very harmonious energy with all the water planets, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. On top of that, very shortly after, is the Cancer-Capricorn opposition, turning that grand trine into a kite. This is all very juicy, harmonious, supportive energy. It's so nice, you might not even know it's there. You just think like, oh, things aren't so bad. Believe me, it's very important to take full advantage of this energy while it's here. Next, from roughly June 6th onwards, everything changes kind of radically. There's a lot of very, very challenging energies throughout the month for all of us in what are called squares. Sometimes we have a T-square, sometimes we have grand squares. Over here, there's a big grand square. So these are the dates that are challenging. June 6th, 10th, 14th, 15th, 19th. Now, for you, Sagittarius in particular, the Sun and most of the Mercury period are going through Gemini right now in June, which is your opposite. Gemini is your opposite. It would be going through what's called your 7th house of maximum opposition. Some people see that as the marriage house, the relationship house, the house of your open worst enemies. So it might feel like a very challenging month for you. Now, the thing is, there are no big planets in the Sagittarius right now, and there's no direct, so it's not like you're getting any direct hits, but still, just because the sun is transiting through Gemini, that can put a lot of pressure on you in terms of how you are functioning in relationship. Now, if you have to, please watch the playlist for love and relationship. The other aspects going on are the in and out squares between Aquarius and Leo. Aquarius and Leo, Aquarius and Leo. It's a battle going on there with the North Node. Also, the Mars in Aquarius battling with Uranus and Taurus. And these are all going in and out throughout the whole month here. We still got this harmonious energy here and here, but things change more towards the end. Let me just go to a chart a second. I had something I pulled up just for you, Sagittarius. Yeah, it's roughly around the 21st or 22nd of June where the sun moves into Cancer. So if you want to look at these notes here, it's like this is a time of serious change for you around the 21st or so, because the sun moves out of Gemini. So the pressure will drop. Even though we have a lot of rip tides, rip currents, undercurrents going on here, cross currents that are going to be very hard for all of us to navigate. So I just wanted to throw that in just for fun. So if you want to, you can blame the planets for everything. But the whole idea is to take charge of all this energy, understand it, and get it to work for you. Learn how to surf. Okay? So here we go. We're going to jump right in it in just a second. I know some of you like to just give me the cards, man. Just show me the freaking cards. Just get on with it, okay? I know what you're saying. I know, but I have to go through my own little rituals here too to kind of get in the zone, because once things get rolling, everything turns into a movie for Tarot Illumination. Please bring your spirit guides in. Tarot Illumination does this as a team effort, okay? With Tarot Illumination's own spirit guides, angels, interns, all of that, okay? So here we go. You'll see what we're talking about in a moment once we actually get into the spread. Here we go. Bless these cards. Bless this reading. Bless this whole system with YouTube and the internet and our cameras and our computers and our phones. Wow, it's amazing. Okay, here we go. Cards are cut. So here we are, Sagittarius. This is you. The very heart core. The heart knows what it needs, knows what it wants, and it's up to you to listen, Sagittarius, in your conscious waking self. The more of a schism there is between your heart and yourself, the more likely you are vulnerable to pain and suffering and damage. Okay? So love thyself. Listen to what the heart is saying. What are you bringing in with you? Legacy energy here. Is this, what kind of baggage is this? You're lucky because Saturn has now officially left Sagittarius a while ago and is now moving through Capricorn for a few years. So a lot of pressure might have been lifted off from you, and now you have to deal with the after effects. Maybe there's a big hangover for you and you're just going to have to deal with it. Okay? Over here, maybe things are wonderful. Who knows? Over here is the ever-present now. A lot of folks don't like this energy because it means you have to be conscious, present, here, grounded, now. And that can be very difficult. It's much easier to take the easy route, which is the easy path of, status quo. Everything we know, everything is just done. This is how we do things. You don't mess with the status quo. And we use the status quo as a platform to project into our future. Thank you very much. Get out of my way. Okay, that doesn't always work when it comes to your own love and healing, your own spiritual evolution, and so on. So a lot of people avoid this, but if you can handle it, being right in the present here and now, kind of like being an artist, absorbed in their painting, a musician, absorbed in their craft. Maybe you have something beautiful and very consuming that you love to do, where you completely lose yourself. You don't have to self-medicate or anything in any way. You don't need tons of caffeinated juices and hard liquor and all your medical herbs and anything like that. You're just pure and clear, and you're totally in the zone, like time doesn't exist. That could also feel like the now. It is in the now where you own your power, have all your power, have access to all your power through the healing power of your decisions. So how are you going to make these decisions in a way that is most loving for you? Because what is most loving for you is the best for your loved ones, especially this time of the year for you, Sagittarius, which is consequently a ripple effect for the rest of the world around you. Okay? So it is kind of a formula, okay? Getting into the present, being present in now, very consciously aware, and then making your decisions accordingly through full conscious awareness. And in so doing, creating consequences, outcomes, instead of being abandoned to the so-called fates. In other words, if you want to look at all this stuff and computers and astrology channels and everything, and think of it as gobbledygook, in some ways it is, but the planets just do what they do. Energy is energy, it just changes. And if you want to, this is very, very valuable information, and you can learn that, how to improve the quality of life by understanding it and going with the flow instead of doing everything on autopilot. In other words, let's forget outsourcing your life to conditions, circumstances, other people, careers, jobs, expectations, childhood programming, and own it. Own your life. Listen to the heart, love thyself, and go. So what does that look like when you're in the zone and you get it? You understand what TL's talking about. Okay, so what happens if you slip? What happens if you're coming into this reading clueless and you're thinking, this is weird, man, and I already got life figured out? then it could be very easy to slip up. And what does that look like? What are you missing? What are you losing over there? Over here, the energy of momentum into the next beat. Here is the heart aura of yourself, of you, dear Sagittarius, and here's the heart at your very, very core. The heart does have an aura, okay? So it pulses all the nutrients to wherever they need it in your body. It removes all the wastes and puts them through the waste system. That's how you stay alive. So it's very important to love thyself, Sagittarius. Over here, circumstantial energy, what's going on around you. Think of it as weather conditions for surfing. You have the Empress. I feel this is very closely associated with the ingress of Uranus and Taurus. Taurus, the energy, the sign of manifestation, of fertility, of physical three-dimensional reality, and all the beauties and wonders of this world, our planet, and all the horrors and the freaky things that go on. Look at the weather reports right now that are happening all over the world, mind-boggling weather events that are just shocking and tipping everything up and upside down, and breaking open old patterns, old established ways of being, and opening ways for new ways of being and new values and new structures to unfold. It's quite something to behold. Have you seen those images of those cities and towns that are collapsing, falling into sinkholes, sinking underwater? Baltimore, Maryland in the United States, flooded like never before. Hurricanes, I mean, we're used to hurricanes and all these things, but some of this stuff is getting very, very extreme right now. And this is just the earth manifesting itself, the earth being what it is, doing what it does. And it's right here, right now. And it's a big, loud message. What is it that you value, Sagittarius, about the wonders and the beauty of the world around you, your people, your life, your harmony, your home, your career? What is it that really, really counts for you? It's time to really wake up and understand that. Let's listen to the heart. What's going on? Okay, Sagittarius, if your heart is grieving, it's really, really important to acknowledge that. You can't bury this stuff. This becomes toxic poison. This turns into putrid, smoldering, festering, rusty lava, like a plague type of energy. This is, if your heart is broken, if you're grieving, if you're suffering, if you're at a loss somewhere in your deep heart core, please listen very, very carefully, Sagittarius. Don't hurt yourself. Don't hurt anyone else because of this. The heart is saying, I need to grieve. I want to grieve. I need to acknowledge that something is out of whack, and I'm feeling it really, really badly, and it hurts. Please listen to me. Please do not bury this. Please do not deny this. Grieving is very, very important. If we try to, even though it's extremely uncomfortable for a lot of people, the phenomenon of grief and grieving exists. It is a real phenomenon, okay? You maybe not see it as a thing, but you deeply feel it when there is a tragic loss in some way, shape, or form in your life or other. A person, a thing, an experience, an opportunity, whatever that is. Over here, let's have a look. What are you bringing in with you? Okay, so let's pretend this is a private reading and we just pulled out the cards, and this is just for you, specifically you, Sagittarius person, number 327. Oh boy, this is a bag of pain. Okay, so with the Nine of Swords here, if you're coming in here, I don't know how you're carrying yourself right now. Maybe you're pretending none of this is happening and you're carrying yourself with dignity and self-respect and calm. And maybe you're feeling like you're under a lot of pressure, maximum opposition right now from the Sun and Mercury, for example, things like that. Maybe it is exposing anything and everything that is not working for you. Maybe, let's be honest about it, maybe you do have a lot of stresses and anxieties that need to be acknowledged. And this is a very, very good place for that to happen at Tarot Lumination here. There's nothing shameful. There's no ridicule that comes from admitting this or having this or owning this. Guess what happens in private readings? This is typically what is exposed. Almost every private reading comes down to this. all the anxieties, sufferings, the confusions, whatever it is, a litany of anything and everything that can go wrong, is going wrong, and may still go wrong. And a lot of it is felt up in the mind, you know, migraines, headaches, deep stress. We feel so much of that up in the mind. But if we carry that in terms of chronic stress, that goes deep into the heart. And you can start to create serious problems physiologically when you feed the heart with so much stress on a continuous basis. You end up with PTSD, basically. So what about the ever present now? How are you coping with all of this right now? Right now. You know, with the ever present now, people are often very uncomfortable with this because it means having to be very clear, very present, where the past doesn't count, the future doesn't count. The only thing that counts is right now. A lot of people don't want to know that because a lot of people carry a lot of discomfort, dissatisfaction, frustration, pain, anxiety, grief and suffering that they refuse to deal with. They just don't want to deal with it. So it's bury it, bury it, bury it, deeper and deeper and deeper. And if there's more that comes in, bury that too. So that puts you in an awkward position, especially if you're stressed out right now, Sagittarius. So the ability and the desire to be very present might be very challenged and challenging for you. What have we got? Okay. To me, with the Chariot here is an indication that you are under a lot of pressure to get your own life together the way you know it has to happen. How on earth, it's almost like right now, it's almost, to me, it's a feeling like, how on earth am I going to get my life together where I can handle all this, the energy of grief and grieving that is being triggered by all this stress that I'm carrying here, whatever it is, wherever it's coming from, even if I'm not even aware that I have this, it's happening deep down at the very core, okay? So you might feel this in your life as, I have to get my act together. I seriously need to get my act together. I am getting my act together. I have got my act together. And it might be a very brave attempt by you to, let's say, wrangle all your energies, gather all your strength, resources, and powers like a well-tuned engine, and fully understanding anything and everything that is wrong with your vehicle of life, your physical body, and all your mental programs and programming, aspirations, goals, and dreams, and putting that together into like a life path, and then switching on the ignition and then going. That's what's happening right now, but it looks like it's happening under a lot of duress. Okay? A lot of pressure here. Like, it's almost like so much pressure that the only thing you're hearing in your head is like, oh my gosh, I have to get my life together. I have to get my act together. I have to get my act together. Oh no, oh no, oh no, I will get my act together. And in many ways, you might be facing things that you can't deal with that way in the present, in the now. Let's have a look. It is in the now where you do own your power. So you may be evolved here to a point where you're thinking, it's okay. I get it. I understand what Terra Illumination is talking about, and I have to own this stuff. I need to take charge of this. Otherwise, all this stuff will take charge of me, and I'll end up in a roadside ditch somewhere. Not gonna happen. Okay, it's in the now where you have access to your power most effectively through the healing power of your decisions. So this is the energy of decisions here. And you have the Nine of Wands. So with the Nine of Wands, again, this feels like pressure on top of pressure. Wherever that pressure is, whatever that pressure is, however you define it, you might have a whole list of items that are freaking you out right now. And you're doing everything that you can to handle that. In other words, you're taking all your energy, your ambitions, your passions, and your desires, and your capabilities, your skills, and your good intentions, and your spirit, and your heroism and courage to battle all this stuff. But in some ways, it's a problem because some of this stuff you can't fix just by battling it. You know, it's more about let's find out how are we going to heal this stuff. So unwittingly, even with the very best of intentions, you might have painted yourself in a corner where it's almost impossible to allow the grieving to occur that has to occur in order for healing to occur, because you're so consumed with the stresses and combating the stresses. Very, very nobly, very with all the best intentions, except that in a way, it's almost like you're ignoring the real problem, which is here. Okay, let's have a look. How are we going to do this? How are we going to actually be effective here, Sagittarius? Okay, my feeling here with the Five of Wands is it's almost like let's take all this energy that's being expended just to get along, just to get by, just to try and keep the vehicle of your life on this road, on your journey going forward. And let's take the foot off the gas pedal a little bit. Just back off a little bit, back off. It doesn't mean we're going to abandon the issues or run away or hide from any of this. To me, it looks like the most effective way to move forward here, stay present in the now, is understand that this is, this too shall pass, okay? Maybe you're having a rough month. Things are going to change again towards the end of the month and then the next month and so on. So taking your foot off the gas, seriously off the gas, and looking at yourself and saying, you know what? Maybe this is a challenge. Maybe I'm supposed to learn something from here. Maybe, like, what's that expression? Slow down and get more done. I don't know if you've heard that one before, but that's what I'm feeling here. Slow down and allow yourself to enjoy the process. There's no point in trying to fight it and just trying to obliterate the problem and exhausting all your fuel, all your passion, all your energy just to maintain your sense of self-respect or dignity or even pride here. My feeling is, you know what? It's almost like Tarot Illumination's got a point. It's just like, okay, let's just chill, people. Foot off the gas, get back down to a very gentle cruise type of speed. Treat all of what's happening here as an adventure. It's exciting to learn and evolve and grow and heal, and we can do it in a much more effective way by being very gentle and very, very loving. Treat all these challenges as ways to learn, to bring out the best in you. In other words, it's like, let's grow up here, people. No point in freaking out and panicking and having a panic attack and fighting it with more energy. It's just like throwing gasoline on a fire type of situation. Instead, like, take control. If you really want to take control, take control. Treat this as a game, as fun, as sport. Like, be a responsible parent to yourself and treat yourself like a little kid who needs a lot of love and care and attention right now. It's almost like saying, you poor, poor thing. You poor, poor thing, Sagittarius. You poor, poor thing. I'm sorry I pushed you so hard at the heart level. Tell me, what is it that's really, really hurting you? Get it all out of your system. Don't be ashamed of it. We're going to learn from this. It's going to be fun. It'll be like sport. Just tell me, what is it? What's going on? Talk to yourself. Talk to me. Pretend you're talking to yourself, and I'll just listen. And then we'll figure it out, and we'll bring the healing in, okay? It'll be fun. It'll be exciting. You'll learn a lot. I'll learn a lot. And you do all of that with yourself. Okay. Consequently, my feeling here is what happens is that you become almost like shockingly aware of how easy it is to tie yourself in knots without even knowing it. Okay, and maybe you've been doing that for a long time. Maybe you've like a ball of string. Maybe it's just become so balled up and so tightened up that it's almost like, oh no. Oh no, I have seriously tied myself in knots, paid myself in a corner, and who can I blame? I could, in theory, blame the planets. Tarot Illumination said it's okay to do that, but ultimately I have to own this stuff. I have to take charge. I have to realize I am the captain of my own ship. And then you realize, oh dear, this is good to know. It's very, very important. Treat this as a learning phase through this part of life right now. Like, it's so important to realize, what is it that is binding you? What is it? Let's figure out, what is the source of this grief here? What is it that is really, really hurting you? Because that is keeping you strapped in and bound in to the pain and the suffering. It's very, very important to, like, from my perspective, this card is shouting very, very loudly, we need to take care of all the stuff in here that needs for you, Sagittarius, to love thyself. And that means understanding every nuance of every one of these issues that you are trying to fight, and you've exhausted yourself trying to fight to figure it out, to protect yourself and defend yourself. And let's figure out, in other words, it's almost, let's say, in other words, let's stop all the pressure. Let's get down to the issues here. You can't fix this just by saying, we're going to fix it, we're going to fix it, we're going to fix it. The fixing here, the healing, comes from understanding the nature of these bindings. What is the nature of each one of these anxiety, stressful binding issues that create so much grief and stress here? And then once you know what that is, you have the chance and the opportunity to release yourself from this. It's very, very binding, and it doesn't have to be that way. But if you don't know that you are bound and owned by your own grief and misery and PTSD, then there's no way to get out of this loop. You end up stuck in a negative feedback loop where there is no healing. So please see this Devil card here as a loud message, as a relief. Okay? So what happens if you keep on insisting on trying to battle this away, just trying to stuff this away, force it away? Okay. To me, it looks like you ruin everything. You start depleting yourself more and more and more of all your assets. It's just like you're driving your vehicle into the ground. You're expending more and more gasoline, more and more energy, burning up more oil and fuel to try and keep things going as the way they are, or the way that you think they should be, the way that you think they should manifest. Whereas the thing is, there's radical shifts happening with Uranus and Taurus right now, and your whole value systems about how things should manifest are going to change. Ultimately for the better, but it might be a very, very bumpy ride at the very first opening salvo of all this stuff here. Like all of this stuff coming to you at the surface right now. So, and like when you're forcing a situation, trying to get through by force, basically it's like you're throwing everything away. You're throwing all your value away, all your values away, all your resources, all your gifts, wasting it all. However, when you come at it from this approach, take your foot off the gas pedal, chill, get in touch with your heart energy, listen very, very closely, be extremely kind and nurturing to yourself. And let's ask, what are these bindings? Tell me your story. Dear heart of Sagittarius, I, the Sagittarius owner and maintenance repair manager of your heart, I want to hear your stories. What is it? What is the nature of the bindings and so much pain and suffering here? And then when you do that, you're starting to nurture yourself like a very, very self-respecting, self-loving person would do. Love is as love does. This is the evidence of love. In other words, actual, practical, mechanical, three-dimensional ways to take care of this. So it means it's like being a very loving, doting parent of a very, very sad little child, okay? But that's all you. The responsible adult, it's now time to take care of the little child inside of you that's hurting, and then listen. And that is evidence of love is as love does. Remember, love is essentially a willful decision to extend yourself above and beyond your existing comfort zones in order to nurture and foster the spiritual growth and healing of yourself, first and foremost, loving thyself, and from there, your significant others. And sometimes it means tough love. And I'm not talking about like romance and chocolate and roses. I'm talking about doing the work, because this is a lot of work. For you, Sagittarius, this is a lot of work, and it's so consuming. It might take you off of the path that you want to live in your life. But if you don't take care of this, you'll end up in a roadside ditch anyway. So you might as well take care of it now and start working on it and figuring it out, listening carefully. And that's very, very noble. It's very, very responsible. It's very loving and caring in terms of love is as love does. And you start to build value, build healing, build strength, and you can flip this card around and turn it into a little Two of Cups and give yourself the chance to move on and heal. Otherwise, you're just digging yourself deeper and deeper into a hole. Over here, let's have a look. See? It's beautiful here. With the little Nine of Pentacles, to me, this is an indication like, oh, why didn't I figure this out myself? Why did I have to come to a Tarot Lumination weird tarot channel to figure this out? It's so freaking obvious. Duh. Oh, well, thank you. Okay, so you go off and do this. So what happens is, once you realize, it's like the removing of obstacles, the removing of bindings, the identifying and naming and owning all of these stresses, anxieties, instead of trying to battle them and shove them away, that's how you heal yourself. That's how you rebuild value, rebuild new values, new resources, take charge of your life and go forward in a way that actually works, to the point like, oh my gosh, that sounds like a plan. We can actually nurture and grow and create value, new values, new strength, new resources, to create a sense of, like a new sense of self-respect and dignity, and the ability to enjoy your true gifts and talents in ways that you haven't been able to do before. Now, I'm not a numerologist, but I know somebody's going to write in on the comments section and say, oh, TL, what about all the nines? Oh, please tell us all about the nines. Nines. I don't know. I don't do the numerology, but there's an obvious connection here. If anybody wants to write in, you're welcome. But I see this as kind of profound, but it's almost like a lightning bolt moment, like, oh my gosh, I wish I understood this before. I would have saved myself so much grief. But it's okay. You are saved. You are healing. You are healed. You are healing yourself. All healing is ultimately self-healing. Okay? So don't be scared of this. Make this your friend. Understand the nature of pain. Understand the nature of bindings and sorrow. Okay? It's good to know that. And then you can climb above that and rebuild what really, really counts. Okay? Whatever that is, you can figure that out. All right, Sag? Thank you so much for visiting. Let me put this over here. I want you to have the full spread. You can reinterpret however you want. There's the heart. There's the full heart aura. There's the pulse. Okay? Bye-bye.